Okay. We're live. Okay, we need to talk to see if it echoes.
Hi.
Hello.
We just had some technical difficulties.
Very
in
much
our
technical difficulty.
first attempt. It was very interesting.
Okay, this sounds better. It sounds like it's working now.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
yeah.
good.
Okay, I was a bit stressed there for a moment. I thought we weren't going to be able to do our live show today. Okay, are you going to
Yeah.
quickly share the new link then to social media or
Yeah.
something?
I'm just busy sharing it on Twitter. If I can type fast enough, that would be great.
No, thank you for doing, because I'm keep pressing the wrong buttons everywhere right now.
That's okay. Okay, that's done. Do Instagram.
Okay, so
Instagram.
I'm glad to hear it's not the new earphones or headphones, because I was like, because I'm trying to make my audio better, because last time my audio wasn't too great, so I'm trying these headphones to see if it makes my audio better. And then that happened, so I thought it was my fault.
No, I don't think it was your fault. I think it was maybe something to do with the app.
Probably.
Live.
Okay, I'm like really glad it's working now though.
Yeah, me too.
Is Carmen watching?
Yeah. I don't know, Carmen, if you're there, say hi.
Say hi.
And everybody else, if you are there, do say hi.
Bit of interaction.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's there because it shows that no one's there. So I hope this link is working. Did Carmen say she's there? Like, I just want to make sure this link is working. That's kind of where I'm getting at, because she said she was waiting, and now technical difficulties. I need to go delete that other stream.
Yeah, just copy paste description and stuff.
Oh yes, because there's nothing on this one, and it even has the wrong title, but that's fine. We're going with it. I had to.
Everything is editable. It's fine.
I know, it's fine.
It's all good.
Okay, should we just start then? Now that it's working.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, hello. After that rough start, here we are. Hello. Welcome to our City of Ashes live show. Thank you so much for joining us and for reading with us this month. And I'm Laia, and my pronouns are she, her, and this is my co-host, Bianca.
Hi. Thank you for joining us and for all of the participation during the month on our social media. We really, really do appreciate it. This book club and live show is a safe space and everyone is welcome here. And we also expect everybody to be respectful and kind in all of the comments and in the live chat.
Yes, very much. Okay. So I finished the book a week ago. Well, I finished it on Sunday last week, yes. So this time I actually read the book a week before our live show, whereas last time I finished on the same day. So it's not as fresh in my memory as it was last time, but I have way more notes than I did last time. I have like triple the amount of notes and things to say. Wow. So I think that's a good thing.
That is really good. I also tried starting earlier, but the past 2 weeks have been really, really busy. I'm back at uni this month and taking part in club activities. So I finished the book today. It's sitting here. I've literally finished the last probably 2/3 of it today, to be honest. So it's quite fresh. I'm hoping next month will be easier. I say that every time. Hopefully, I'll get a bit better every month.
But it's probably because you read it in between other books too, whereas I only read one book per week.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I do alternate, and I promised some people I'd do buddy reads, so I had to do that. And
Okay,
it's all okay.
Now I'm curious as to what buddy read you did, but I'll ask you that at another time. Okay, what about you start with your general thoughts this time since I started last time?
Okay, I thought the pacing of this one was really great, and I loved the quips and the sarcasm, and I loved that it wasn't only Jace who had some sarcastic comments. I think Isabel and Magnus also had a few good ones. I also really loved seeing the characters develop a bit more and strengthen their relationships. And I like seeing some of the new characters who I thought was in the first book, but they weren't. Like Maya, she showed up, and I was really happy to see her.
The first book was... Sorry. I was going to add to what you said. The first book was like very sparse compared to our expectations.
Yeah.
And I agree. I love seeing all the new characters and stuff.
I think that Cassie Clay really loves her threes, and she really tries to work in threes everywhere because she's got trilogies. She splits her books into threes. So they all are really quite cohesive, and you really need to read them together to get the full story.
Her love triangles are in threes.
Yes. She loves those as well.
Yes.
Yeah. That was mostly general thoughts. What about you?
Is that all?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot. This is the shortest book out of all of them, honestly. So I was just like,
well, my general thoughts are a bit more in depth than that,
okay.
But that's fine. We can discuss. Okay, so if you see me looking to the side, it's because my notes are next to me. So the first thing I wrote is that the first thing I noticed when I started reading this is that the last book, or the first book, is mostly written from Clary's perspective. Like, if not completely from Clary's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this book changes perspective between characters. Like, that's the first thing I noticed. Like, oh, now we're reading from Maya, now we're reading from Simon. Like, and I really like that we were reading from different characters' perspectives.
Yeah, I also like that. It was fun to see. And I think she made the decision that, okay, we need this scene. And she got a bit out of Clary's head for it, because a lot of the time... Yeah, it was when Clary wasn't around. So I love that she showed us a bit more than just what Clary was seeing.
Yes, definitely. And my second thing that I wrote down kind of goes with that. I said I really liked reading from Maya's perspective and Maya's point of view, and I really like Maya's story. Like, when I started reading that, I just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I also liked her, and also knowing her story makes it more fun to read it again as well, and seeing like her thought process. Some of the people she talks about that we maybe know that we'll see in the future. It's interesting.
Definitely. Yes, one person specifically I think you're referring to, which I'm excited for. Like, I'm excited for that person to enter.
Expected that person to show up sooner.
Me too.
Yeah, I think the first 3 books like blend together, and we kind of think that all of those characters are in the first 3 books, but they're not.
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, I don't know. I was kind of surprised by Maya in a way, because I remember her, but I kind of more remember her as a side character, and I was surprised at how much I like her and how much I enjoy her perspective and her story and who she is as a person.
That's cool. I whenever they say their ages, I'm like, well, Maya's 15. Really? Are you sure?
Yeah. But I mean, that's YA. YA writes from like 15, 16-year-old's perspective.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. True.
it's a bit
And
stressful.
I guess in these kinds of stories, all of the characters tend to be a little bit more mature, just because of what they go through. Like what happened to Clary in the first book, that automatically added some trauma to her life. So she changed because of it, and she had to become an adult because her mom isn't around. She's still sleeping or in a trance in the first two books, so Clary kind of has to go out on her own, and same thing with Maya. She doesn't mention her family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's true. Like we kind of hear Maya's story, but then also another thing I noted was how dependent Clary became on, wait, is that the right word? She became dependent on Luke, like a lot. And Luke also was like, father babe, father, like he's like, this is my child, I'm
Yeah.
protecting her. And that was really, really cute. And you can see he's like hyper protective over
Yeah,
her.
I think it might be like his wolfy instincts as well. A little bit like he's very like family and like kind of pack oriented, but his pack isn't just his like wolf pack, it's like the people in his life as well. And but I think he was like that before he turned into a werewolf as well, because
Yeah.
of like how he cares about Jocelyn and how loyal he was to Valentine, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it made me so sad when they had that little moment where Clary was like, "Oh, yeah, Jace was probably looking for that like fatherly or like parental affection after, how do you say her name? Is it Maurice?
Oh,
Marai?
Mayrus.
Whatever.
It's May
That
it's Mayrus because in the first, no, in this book there's a line that actually tells you how to pronounce it. Like I think it's
yeah.
Clary who says how to pronounce it, and it's Mayrus.
But I don't like
Because
that. It doesn't make sense to me.
it
And
doesn't
I
make
googled
sense, but
and I
I've been
preferred
Googling.
Maurice or something. That just like that's
No,
how I read
it
it.
looks better, but it is, I believe it's Mayrus because that's literally how it says to
Yeah,
pronounce
I
it.
know.
I think that was on purpose. That was
I
like
know.
put there, like this is how you pronounce the name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but yeah,
Adding
when you
on
said
to Yeah, adding on to what we just said, about Luke. Oh, I thought it was really cute how Clary kept saying that Luke is her father. She's like that she told Valentine, "You're not my dad. Luke is my dad." And like,
yeah.
oh, like she didn't have to say that. Like no one, like it was unprompted. It was Luke never even spoke to her about it, and she's like, "No,
Mm.
you're my father."
And his confession at the end of the book, my heart.
Remind me. Oh,
Uh,
about Jocelyn. Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
how he wanted to go with her at first, like straight from the beginning, when she left, and she was like, no, no, it's okay. And then he stayed away for a while, but eventually he got like really sad being away from her, so he went out to find her, and then he kind of gave up his whole existence
Everything.
to join her in the mortal world when it was kind of her choice and not his.
And that whole story in the police station that he told Clary about how he found her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he like went through cities and everything trying to find her.
Yeah. He's a good person. I love Luke.
Yes. Okay. Next point. Um, let me just. Okay. So this one is about Hodge, and I thought that even though Hodge betrayed them and really hurt them and everything, they are constantly thinking about Hodge and they're constantly missing him. And it's like kind of shows that he was family, and no matter what he did to them, they still found it really difficult to let him go and like forget about him because they were constantly thinking about Hodge, constantly thinking about Hugo um, throughout the whole book. So like that just made it
Yeah.
really obvious that they really miss him, even though he betrayed them.
I didn't really focus on that, but now that you bring it up, it makes me quite sad for them because he was their only teacher.
Mhm.
you know, and he prayed, well, he lived with them. So I know that we sometimes feel a lot of strong emotions towards some of our teachers, especially the ones we spend a lot of time around. So yeah, that was probably really, really difficult for them.
Yeah. Because you'd expect like Hodge, Hodge, Hodge to just be like gone after the first book because like he died and like you expect him to just be gone, but then they're constantly bringing him up, constantly thinking about him, and
Mm.
it was a few characters, like not just one character that missed him, like they all thought of him at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next one. That was only bullet number 3 of like I don't know how many, 10 or something. Okay. Oh, and then in the beginning, so I kind of forgot the whole storyline about the Inquisitor. Like
Uh,
I did not remember that story. And then in the
okay.
beginning, when she said her name was Imogen Herondale, I was like, "You're a Herondale," because I know what Herondale is gonna be. Hi, Graham. um, I know what Herondale is gonna like be and become, and what the name Herondale means. So when I saw she was a Herondale, I was like, interesting. And then towards the end, I started remembering what happened, and obviously I know what happened after, like in the future, the ones we haven't
Yeah.
read yet. Um, but then I started remembering. But it was quite funny in the beginning when I forgot that whole story, and I was like, "Oh, you're a Herondale. Interesting."
I I kind of hated her. I did mention that somewhere later. Um,
Yes, I have in brackets. Um, oh no, it's actually a separate point. Okay, let me read this point. So, I wrote that I have very mixed feelings about the Inquisitor because at the beginning I hated her, like hated her. But you're supposed to feel sorry for her. Like the book is written in a way where you're supposed to feel sorry for her. And I just kind of hated her, but then I also just want to add like my own thoughts and feelings towards that. Like, yes, we heard what happened to her, and she's a bad person for a reason, but then I just think that, like, no matter what happened in the past, it's doesn't give you a reason or an excuse to be a bad person or to treat someone as badly as she treated Jace.
yeah.
Like, yes, all that happened with her son, but that's no reason to treat Jace the way she did. And I know it's all about getting revenge on Valentine and whatever, but at some point you're just a bad person, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And like it was kind of sad that she died without like a proper redemption arc, and it was kind of like a cop out of just having her like pretty much sacrifice herself for him and become a martyr, because she could have actually stayed alive and actually had to deal with this revelation that she had and then had to make it up to him, because it's like not fair on Jace for what she did to him. That, like, when I read that again, I was like, that was torture and like messed up that she put him in that little Malachi whatever thing.
Malachi
And
configuration with
that,
the fire,
yeah,
what are the
handcuff.
handcuffs? And
Yeah,
like
that was.
he's like a
He's a kid.
17-year-old
He's a kid.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And she just did that, like, mm-mm.
yeah. And
Yeah, and then like I don't know, like part of me was like, could she not have seen the star birthmark thing, scar, whatever it is, sooner?
I think it was in the TV show actually where she was alive a bit longer, and then they had to kind of like try force their relationship a little bit from what I remember watching it.
Interesting.
So I did appreciate that they did that because I wanted that to happen. And I
Hmm.
feel like it should have happened. Like, you know, Jace deserves like something.
Some kind of family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. And well, I was gonna say something that was probably a spoiler for the next book, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she was the only. chance he had at that.
Mm.
Yeah, so the Inquisitor, very mixed feelings, because you're supposed to feel sorry for her, but I don't.
Yeah.
In a way.
I also just want to say hi, Graham, and thank you for joining us, even though you are busy with uni assignments.
Yes,
that was
thank
me
you so
yesterday.
much.
I was awake until like 11, still like typing away. I don't know. Even my teacher that I had in the afternoon, she says, "Oh, I'm like however old she is, and I'm still a last minute person, so I understand it." And this is also why I only finished this book today. So I get it.
That's why we are complete opposites.
That is true.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you have more general points?
Yes, I did. I'll tell you when I'm at the end. I only have 5 left. Yes, Graham, we know you think that's early. Okay,
Yes, 11
no, I'm
p.m.
joking.
Not 4 in the morning like you.
Okay, so this point doesn't actually have a point. It's just something I wrote down. I wrote the Seelie Queen knows everything.
I love the Seelie Queen. I love her. I was like, yes, mess with them. Do it. Oh, I love
Okay, let's
fairies.
not talk about that scene now because I'm gonna bring that up again later.
Okay.
That specific scene. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up. Yes, the Seelie Queen knows everything. That's literally what I wrote. And like how? We don't know.
Obviously, she has like spies and things everywhere. I
She
would if
must.
I was like a fairy. And like, even if it's not like fairies, she has people who tip her off because she has fairy magic. She can do whatever she wants. Like, yeah, I love the fairies.
And then there's also like the mundanes who like not work for the fairies, but like want to be there? Question
Yeah.
mark. I think. Like I'm saying something, but I'm not sure if I'm
I mean,
correct.
if I could go to fairyland and if someone was like, yeah, you just
It
have
says
to like,
fairy. Capital F, it's called fairy.
I know,
Fairyland.
but in general, like that's how it's referred
Yeah, I'm
to.
joking with you. I'm joking with
If someone said
you.
that to me, I would be like, what do I have to do? I'll do it.
I wouldn't. Because if you get stuck in one of those revels and you dance until you literally die, no thank you.
I would do it just to see a fairy, honestly.
You can just go walk in the park and see one. They hang out there. Outside the entrance.
I would still go.
Okay.
I
Okay, the
always
next
want.
thing I wrote. Okay, this is something I kind of really loved, and that is that there were flip phones everywhere. He flipped his phone open and answered, or he flipped his phone closed.
There was
It was
something the
flip
antenna
phone.
broke off. I was like, okay.
And Simon was walking around in a CD shop and he bought a CD. And I'm like, yes, it was written in our time. That was just something I found so funny because you don't hear someone say they flipped their phone closed or they flipped their phone open, you know.
And it's
I
a
just love that.
satisfying thing that we can't do anymore, which is.
Yeah. But I must say, not having to buy CDs all the time is nice. Flip phone eras were the golden days. I keep forgetting to show comments, so sorry about that. But we agree. I just really love that. Because this book was what, 2008? I'm
I
guessing.
think so.
Because the last one was 2007, so
Yeah, probably.
I suppose. Oh yeah, and that just made me happy. Okay, 3 more points. Oh, okay. And I wrote that Magnus really made me laugh this time.
Yeah.
Like quite a few times Magnus made me actually like laugh. You know. like laugh out loud. LOL.
Yeah.
He was like, I can't exactly remember where now because it's been a week since I read the book, so I can't remember details like that.
He had lots of funny lines. Like when
Yes.
I think they walked in somewhere and they were like, "Is Jace okay?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know. Does he always lie on the floor like that?" I was like,
Yes.
too good.
Oh, I love Magnus. I mean, and he just gets better and better as the series go on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to speed through these so I don't take too long. Um, Also, I just wrote, I'm so ready for Jocelyn to wake up. I think we're all so ready for Jocelyn to wake up.
Yeah.
Um, very much. But I remember her being a bit too overprotective, and I'm not looking forward to that. But we'll
Yeah.
get there when we get there. um, Okay, and then my last point is one from the end of the book, and I love that Simon was the one to call off their relationship. Like, I love that Simon was like, "This isn't working. We don't work together. We should just stay friends." Like, I love that Simon did that.
Yeah. Really stood up for himself, and I think
Yes.
he, like, you can realize when like the other person doesn't really feel the same way, and then it's kind of a bad move to force it with someone who doesn't feel the same way. Um,
Yes.
I
But
was
you
we was seeing it, sorry.
no talk. Sorry.
I was just Carmen and I were discussing it because we saw it in some of the TV shows that we're watching. A few couples are like have one person who did that, and then the other person just was in the relationship because they didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings, kind of, and then it just always ends badly. So
Yeah. But then you'd kind of think that Simon would be blind to that because he's finally getting what he wants because he's like liked Clary for so long. Like you'd think that he just would like be like, yes, finally gonna have this. And then it was kind of cool that he realized he was like, okay, no, maybe we're better off as friends.
I think he values like their friendship more than like wanting to change things and then potentially lose her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay, that was everything I wrote. Okay, do you have a favorite part of the book?
I have a few things that I mentioned as favorites. So first one was Magnus. I loved seeing him
Definitely.
more. I felt really bad for him after that scene with Alec and the Fearless Rune and kind of nearly like outing himself to his parents and then taking it back, and you can see that Magnus's feelings was really, really hurt afterwards. Um,
I
yeah.
think Magnus's feelings were very hurt throughout this whole book, like even till the end,
He
because
was really
Alec
granted.
very much and like Magnus didn't technically have to be there. He didn't need to help them. And the way Alec was treating him and dealing with everything, like Magnus definitely didn't have to be there.
Yeah.
So I felt really sorry for him even till the very end.
Yeah, me too. But I think he also covered a lot of it. I enjoyed that he had funny lines. I also wrote that he was hilarious. I really liked his style of humor. And I really missed Magnus. I didn't realize how much I missed him until this book.
Yes.
I also noticed that Isabel is like really super protective and caring. Actually, like how she reacted after Alec pretended to betray Jace, and she was just like, "I'm not talking to you if
Hmm.
you want to be that way." And then even in the city court when she covered Simon's eyes, like she cares about people, and I really really liked seeing that. Um, I also enjoyed all of the foreshadowing and the little like trail of clues that Cassandra Clare has placed everywhere, and then when you go back, you can be like, "Oh, I know what you're doing
Yes.
there. I know what you're
And
doing
that
there."
you only realize it when you read the book for a second or third time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mostly my favorite parts.
Okay, so your favorite parts were people.
Yes, people and the
Agnes.
foreshadowing. I thought it was like a really like nice style of writing as well. Because I read a really terrible book while I was reading this one as well. So that writing was I
I
can't even
saw
talk about it.
I saw on Goodreads you gave it one star. I was like, okay.
It was that, but you know, that's for a different video. So I actually really like Cassie Clare's writing, and she gets so much hate and criticism from people, and I don't think it's deserved because she actually writes really, really well,
I
especially
do
for
think,
her first published books.
yes, I do think her writing improved since the first book.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
second book is written way better than the first. Also with changing perspectives and everything, that made a huge difference as well.
Mm. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
My favorite part of the book was when Clary drew the fearless rune, like that whole scene.
Oh,
Like when they were kind of like, well, Jace can do this, maybe you can do this, and then she like get your sketchbook, and then she got her sketchbook and she just drew it, and like that whole scene, I just really, really like that.
that was cool. I do love like their little like special abilities. Oh, I liked when Jace was like, "Oh, I could just climb up onto the roof and jump down from the top of the building, and I'm fine." I love that.
He got such a confidence boost from jumping out of that Malachi configuration. Like
Yes,
he was like, I can do anything. If I can jump out of that, I can do anything.
it's not good for his ego though, but we'll give it to him.
He already
That's nothing. I tend to read like 5 books at the same time most of the time, so I'm trying to cut it down. But yeah.
I thought that one was funny. But anyway, Jace already has a big ego, so it's just getting boosted. But we love Jace.
I love him. He's also less mean in this book. I think he was a bit more vulnerable in this one, which I liked seeing as well. And he wasn't just kind of being a prick most of the time. And we got to see a bit more of his vulnerability showing.
I also think that because in the last book he didn't know who his father was yet, and he was still dealing with like thinking his parents died, and now he found out his father is alive and he's finding out all these things about his life. So I think his perspective is also changing, and he's not like he doesn't have a wall up as much as he used to. Like he's
Yeah.
learning to put it down. Okay, then I have a few quotes. I took pictures of them on my phone like while I was reading. So, and they were also some favorite parts that I want to read out. So, my first favorite quote was in the Sealy Court. Um, Jace said, "But unlike you," said Jace, "there is nothing of hell in us. You are mortal, you age, you die," the queen said dismissively. "If that is not hell, pray tell me what is." I was like, wow, like that's powerful.
Ah, I guess, but I don't agree with her. Like, I don't think
I
it's how to age and die.
I don't know, if you're from a fairy's perspective who lives basically forever, like that kind of makes sense to me. And that makes sense to me because getting older and like dying, that's scary. And like if I could live forever, I definitely would.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, wait, let me just see what this one is. I have two quotes just to prove a point, which I'm not going to read right now. I'll prove my point later. Okay, and then the next quote, I only have two.
Can I guess
Is
what your point is that you were wanting to prove?
yes, you can. Wait, but do it
Is
after this quote.
okay.
Okay, because then I'll actually tell you. Um, so this quote is at the end of the book when Clary um, was thinking about her mom or something. So it says she wondered why she'd never tried to draw it. She remembered asking her mother once why she'd never used her as a model, never drawn her own daughter. To draw something is to try to capture it forever, Jocelyn had said, sitting on the floor with a paintbrush dripping cadmium blue onto her jeans. If you really love something, you never try to keep it the way it is forever. You have to let it be free to change.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I really loved that. That spoke to me.
I also did screenshots or like take pictures of some quotes. I can't remember which ones. Every time I laughed, I was like, snap, snap.
Yeah, I thought I'd read out some just to add something else to the live show, to the discussion.
Here's one from Magnus. Clary stepped aside to let him pass. How old are you anyway? She asked curiously. Magnus winked at her. I was alive when the Dead Sea was just a little lake that was feeling a little poorly.
I remember that.
It's too funny.
Do you have another one?
Simon had one. And what about us? Do you want a vampire boyfriend? He laughed bitterly. Because I foresee many romantic picnics in our future. You drinking a virgin pina colada, me drinking the blood of a virgin.
Yes.
Too funny. I have a few, but yeah, I'll keep to those.
Okay. Do you want to guess the point I was gonna make?
That Jace's parentage isn't what they're trying to make it seem, maybe?
No.
Or am I totally off?
Way simpler than that.
Okay.
My point I want to make is that seraph blades are already a blade that comes alive, and it's not a tube where something shoots out. So my first one says, Jace stroked his fingers along the blades. They were flat and grey-white, waiting to be named. So they are already blades. And like, I thought I was crazy when I read it the last time, but I'm not crazy. So that's why I'm making my point. And the second one says, he lifted the first blade. The seraph knife shimmered and changed color as he named it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
I
was
also
already a blade.
As a blade, and then like it lights up or something, or like fiery.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So that's what I said in the last live show, and now I'm just proving myself to be correct.
Speaking of the point I was actually trying to make, I think I took a screenshot somewhere, if I can remember. But there was one point where Clary was looking at Jace and she was like analyzing his features, and she was saying something like his hair is like this or whatever, but she doesn't see any resemblance to her mother, herself, or Valentine. But then they do make some points in the rest of the book from different characters saying that like his attitude or like his expression reminds them of Valentine. So I feel like he picked up on his attitude, which you do if someone raises you, and you'll pick up on their mannerisms.
And yeah, body language, I was going to say.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that. And that's why everyone's like, I totally see Valentine in him.
Yeah, because he's just kind of got that trying to be like him vibe, and yeah.
And yes, obviously, because he was raised by him. But he did move away from him when he was 10 years old, and that's pretty young. Like, a lot changes.
I did have a bit of an issue with, like, their emphasis on the kind of blood relationships being your parents, which kind of invalidates a lot of other people's experiences, because you might not be raised by your blood parents, but that doesn't make them less of your parents. And I think maybe bringing Luke into it makes it a bit better. having like Clary's perspective of having Luke being her dad, even though he's not her biological dad, versus like Jace wanting to hold on to Valentine.
Yes, I get that, but then also at the end, Mayrus calls Jace her son.
Yeah, they do like trying to bring it back. Can we move on to our least favorites? Because that's a part of my least favorite.
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, I said that like whole like thing of adults not listening to the children and think that they're lying, and also how they treated the children. I didn't really like it. So
Backtrack. When did they think the children were lying?
like when Jace, it like pretty much all of the adults in Jace, they didn't believe him that he wasn't being a spy. And they don't really show that many adults, to be honest, just those from the Institute and then Luke. Luke pays more attention to them. But the rest of them are just like, no, you're lying, you're a spy. Even when he's trying to help, and they've known him for most of his life.
They should have believed him.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Really frustrated me. I think like that's a thing that happens in our world as well, just like parents not believing their kids with stuff. Yep. That's something that really irritates me.
It's a problem.
It is, because just because children are young doesn't mean that they're not little people. You don't have to treat them as like a different thing.
Yeah.
Just because of their age. Something I've always hated.
Yes, I agree. And then there's this one YouTuber that I watch, and she always says that children are people now.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And like I was also having a conversation with my mom the other day, and she was saying how when children are in your house and you're raising them, you're not trying to like exert power over them. That's not the point of being a parent. The point is to raise them so that they can live without you one day. That's the point of being a parent, not having complete control over someone else.
Getting deep here.
Yeah.
Yes, I do agree.
And then I also hated like the Imogen, the Inquisitor plotline. That was like my least favorite, other than the adults. And she was one of the that was being like that. I didn't like how cruel she was, and I also hated that she didn't get like a proper redemption arc. So, which could have so easily.
Yes, I do see like why what happened to her happened, but then also didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like they could have maybe fought together. You know? Like defeated whatever was attacking Jace together somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't really get like why it has taken such a long time for the downworlders to kind of get along with each other, because there's still such a big divide amongst them, and I would have thought that they would have found a common enemy in like the people who are trying to oppress them all of the time, but they haven't really, and it's quite sad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know really what to say about that, but I agree. I just think everything is so new in these books.
Yeah.
You know, a lot changes later on. So, but like I do, like you also mentioned it last time, like how they didn't even know who Magnus was and all of that story. Like, how did they not know Raphael? Like he's the leader of the New York vampire clan. How did they not know him? How do they not know Luke? You know, how like all these, like it doesn't make sense because they should know. And it's not like, because they obviously hang out at that restaurant where all the downworlders go.
Mm,
What's it called? Moon.
I don't
I forgot
remember.
its name. But like they obviously go there often. Like they should know these people.
Mm. I feel like when she was writing these books, she was also discovering the world herself in the first trilogy, I guess. Don't bark. Sorry.
Exactly. But yes, exactly.
So, yeah, she didn't have like an established like this is the relationships that exist. She kind of
Yes.
uh,
I mean, that's my brain right now.
what was I even talking about? I got so distracted by the dog. She was about to go on like a rampage.
I don't know. But anyway,
um,
I. Hmm?
do you have any things that you did not like?
No, I literally just couldn't think of a least favorite or like a criticism. I literally have question mark written
Oh,
down.
okay, okay.
Like I very much enjoyed this book more than the first one, like way more.
Thank you, Graham. Yes, the world and discovering it. That's what we're talking about. Um, yeah, I think like she was using the characters in the first few books to set everything up and to establish relationships that should have probably existed before. Um, maybe,
Maybe because it's just kind of weird that these people don't know each other. Like they would have already known each other. They wouldn't now only be like hearing of each other.
but
Like
also
when
when I was 16 and I read it, I did not think of this. I really
probably, but
didn't.
we're here to what's the word? We're here to evaluate,
Analyze.
analyze. That's what I'm looking for. Analyze the book. So no.
Yeah, it might
Um,
have been.
but like because when they arrived at the like in the last book when they arrived at the Hotel du Mort, they were supposed to know who Raphael was. They wouldn't be like, who's this little boy? Like they should have known who Raphael was. Anyway, I
Yeah.
don't know where that even came from, but oh, like world and discovery, yes.
But how difficult would that have been? I mean, is there a process to create a world without writing a story about it? Yeah, I mean, like you can write a whole like storyboard kind of prequel of what happened before the current time, and other books have done that. Like, um, what's an example that I can give? I don't want to talk about the immediate one that pops into my mind for obvious reasons.
Okay, but I just want to add that you can, even if you don't write a previous thing, you can write of a world who is already established.
Game of Thrones, that's a bit hard, but yeah, you can use that as an example because in the Game of Thrones, like all of their roles are already established, and if you follow like one character's point of view, that character will be the only one learning who the other people are, and there might be someone introducing them to it. So you'll have the like mentor character being like, oh, this is this person, and they do this, and they're very important. Whereas in this book, all of the characters, even the ones who were kind of meant to know what was going on, were like, oh, hi,
Yeah,
I've never
so
met you before, but you're like the president of this and this. I didn't know
so
that.
it could have been only Clary not knowing because she had
Yeah,
just come into this world. So Clary could have not known anyone, but everyone else could have known everyone.
yeah, exactly. Like Jace, Alec, Isabel, all the Shadowhunters should have known who like the top downworlders are because like those are the people who they're meant to be interacting with. Like they're meant to be going out into that world. But I do have to say that they are the children, so maybe they weren't going out that much. Maybe they weren't allowed on that many missions.
No,
Maybe.
I don't agree with that because they were going out a lot because Jace has killed more demons than anyone else his age. So they were going out.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, maybe they were going out on, like, missions where the parents were, like, in the background kind of vibe. I'm just thinking of, like, other books that I've read where, like, you're training them to do something, right? So you'll go on, like, a planned mission versus just throw them in there. Let's see if they do okay. Like, you can go out and do what you want even when you're like 11. Just go, it's fine, and then you come back
I
home,
don't
and if
know.
you're alive, it's cool.
But I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that because the way it's written makes it kind of obvious that they did go out on their own. And even the book starts with them on a mission by themselves.
Yeah, that could have been one of their first missions by themselves.
No, because Jace had already killed more more demons than anyone else his age.
Yeah, like supervised missions.
So
Like,
I don't
because
know.
Alec and Isabel, they have their parents there. Hodge wasn't allowed to leave, but they do have the parents, so maybe they went out with them and they weren't exposed to a lot. This is like a weak argument because, like, logically, they should have been taught a lot more. But maybe their parents were, like, super overprotective, didn't tell them anything.
I just struggle to believe that,
Me
honestly.
too. But yeah.
Because they were trained and everything. Like, if they can speak Latin fluently, they should know the Downworlders, you know? I don't know.
I also think it could reflect how lowly the current Shadowhunters view the downworld, that they don't even care to include that in their education for their children. They're like, yeah, you need to know who all of the angels are. You can name like 50 billion of them for your swords, but we're not going to teach you any of the names of the werewolves, vampires, anybody else, because they don't matter, because we're superior. Could reflect that.
Probably. That does kind of make sense. I have another. No, I can argue that. The Accords. They sign the Accords every what? 50 years or something. I can't remember the exact amount. And every time the Accords are signed, a representative from every single type of downworlder needs to come and sign them as well. And they're interacting with those people. Like, the Accords aren't a new thing. The Accords aren't something that are still going to be made. The Accords are happening. And the Shadowhunters are definitely interacting with at least the representative.
But once again, that's just the adults. The, like, current generation, we're sounding, well, I mean, reading about their little babies, so they weren't at the previous Accord, so they don't know anybody. It is a bit of propaganda. Like, the main characters are kind of supposed to be a bit of a kind of a metaphor for, in our world, like, a little bit like, I want to say Nazis. Don't know if that's like the right thing. They just white supremacists. They have that vibe of like they are the superior race. That's like what they are. They have magic in their veins and they're better than everybody else. So yeah, maybe they'll make a deal with the people who are different than them, but that won't mean that they see them as their equals. That might just have been a power move. And they do have a lot of propaganda in their world. Like, for a long time, they didn't treat, like, the downworlders as, like, I don't want to say people, because, like, technically none of them are, like, human beings. They weren't treated as
Equals?
equals, yeah. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of propaganda in that world. And it is based on, like, the world in Harry Potter where there's the blood supremacy thing and the whole, like, looking down on muggles and half-bloods, all of that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay, fun times. My brain feels so fried right now. Okay. Shall we read some Goodreads comments?
Sure.
Or just hang on. Can I go first?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm like looking which one can you read? Okay. Rachel, once again, Rachel did some interacting and some commenting on our Goodreads group. So thank you, Rachel. I recognize you. Okay. Anyway, so she said, reading the fairy realm scene this time was still as shocking this time as it was when I read it the first time. It's a lot of times. Sorry. Knowing what I know from later books, I enjoyed the scene more. And like, I don't really want to talk about that scene right now because I'm going to bring it up, trust me.
Okay.
But it is different once you've read the next books and you know what's coming, and then you go back and you read that scene again. It does change things.
This is like also why I love being someone who can reread things, and because you always get something different from it. Every time you read something, you watch something, you take away something completely different from it. So I don't think it's wasting your time to go back to something again, even if you've already experienced it.
Definitely. And like, even with movies, like, I can rewatch movies. Well, in my childhood I did rewatch over and over and over. So just with books, it's the same. And it does change things. Like, knowing, like I said, knowing what comes changes how you experience it the next time.
Yeah. Okay, the next comment is from Michelle. The ending though, OMG. Of course, when she tries to finally admit how she feels, he says that. I loved it though. I'm ready for Jocelyn to be awake. Finally, someone knows how to help her. Yes. Then there was a reply from Rachel. Yes, I know. I wonder what she was actually going to say. Was she really going to tell her brother that she had romantic feelings for him? Oh.
I agree with that. When I read that, I was like, Clary, are you really about to say, like, are you sure you want to say that? Because I thought Clary was the one with, like, she was level-headed. She was like, okay, this is the situation. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be. And like, was she really going to say that?
Well, we'll never know now, will we? Maybe she just wanted to, like, deal with it. Maybe she just wanted to bring it up so they can, like, deal with it. Because clearly it wasn't going away. They had feelings for each other.
Yes. But I feel like that was going to be like a confession, like, let's do this, keep it secret kind of thing.
Okay.
That's what that's actually what Jay said earlier in the book. That's what he suggested.
Yeah, he did want to
he said
do that.
we can keep it a secret, and like, even though we don't agree with that, but we know that they aren't actually siblings. So
I read a book in the past that was actually about like incest. It was like straight up that was an incestuous relationship, and they also had that kind of vibe where they were they didn't grow up in like a traditional sibling role, so they were kind of the parents for their younger siblings. So they were kind of playing mom and dad all the time because their parents weren't around. So by taking that dynamic and changing it, it confuses how they related to each other, and then they ended up having a secret relationship. So that wasn't like a shock to me, especially for teenagers. Like, they don't really have that control of their brain where they can analyze risk. They want to do a lot of risk-taking behaviors, and especially like in that environment where they are like fighting for their lives half of the time. They're like, well, I might die tomorrow, so may as well. Why not?
I guess that's true. Okay, then Verona said Jace and Simon's scene on the ship is powerful, and I agree.
It was, well, yeah. It's always a bit like awkward when someone has to drink somebody else's blood to survive.
Yeah.
But it was nice that Jace like did that for Simon. Well, I think he did it more for Clary than for Simon, if we're going to be honest.
Definitely.
But that was really, really selfless of him to do that. Especially his attitude towards Downwallers hasn't been amazing throughout. He was a bit douchey.
And towards Simon.
Yes, yeah.
So.
But that just shows that he's he's got a good heart, even if he projects otherwise. Okay, then Jawahir, who, if she watches this, hi, I haven't seen her in a while, but I do actually know her in real life from Dubai.
Okay. That's why I wanted you to read this one so you can pronounce the name correctly.
She says, the Queen of the Sealy is a savage. The part where she tricked Clary into consuming fairy food and Clary is only able to leave by kissing whom she most desires. That made me squirm. I felt so bad for Simon, not to mention the awkwardness of the situation. And then there's a reply from Rachel. I already knew what was going to happen, but it still made me squirm reading it again. What an awkward situation for the characters to be in.
It was awkward. It was awkward.
It was, but I saw somewhere online there was a question. I was looking for discussion questions, and they asked something like, "Do you think the Sealy Queen was actually being evil in doing that, or was she actually trying to do something good for them to like deal with their feelings?"
I'm gonna ask you about that in a little while.
Okay.
Okay, so those were all the comments. Thank you so much for commenting. We love interaction. And I kind of realized that even though I said I wanted to try join the discussion on Goodreads more and comment more, that's kind of impossible because I need to keep my comments for the live show. Like I need to not be in that chat so I have something to say in the live show. So if I'm not very commenty over there, then that is why.
I think it's okay if we do comment there because I don't think everyone who's in the group is going to watch the live, so
Probably not, but I don't want to give all my thoughts and everything I want to say away before. Okay, do you have a question for me? So for this part, last time I kind of asked like a few general questions that I just thought of that could be like discussion points. This time I thought we could both ask each other a question about the book.
Okay, my question was, which side character did you want to see more of?
I just want to quickly highlight this comment. I know, but I don't want to give all my feelings away, all my thoughts.
I just haven't had like the time in my life to do that. But I'm trying to get a handle on my schedule, so I think I also might change on the Goodreads group to have it be like chunks of the book. So maybe a comment on part 1, comment on part 2, comment on part 3, and that will be easier for me rather than just giving like a random comment just in general about the book on there, because that might give away too many feelings. But then if you narrow it down, it will be easier to have small discussions about chunks of the book. What do you think about doing that next time?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll try it out next month and see if better.
Yeah. I don't know if people will comment on each one or if they like. I don't know. We can test it out. I can always test it out. Okay, which character would I like to, side character would I like to see more of? And I think you kind of could guess my answer.
Maya.
That I'd say Maya. Is Maya a side character?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'd say Maya. I really enjoyed reading from Maya's perspective. I really enjoy Maya. I really like who she is as a person. I really like her personality. And I would love to see more from her. And I know her story is coming and everything. I don't know how it ends, but yes, I'm very much looking forward to reading more about Maya. Did that answer the question enough?
Yes.
I can't think of any other side characters right now.
I kind of wanted to see more from Raphael. In a way. Because I think he would be interesting to involve more in things, because he shows up in like some of the other books, especially like when we go to the past again.
But he's also in some of the future books as well. Like he plays a big role in the books.
But especially because like Simon just turned, and you'd think that he would want to be around a bit more, especially because he was just there for that scene when Simon like clawed his way out of the grave. I hated that scene, by the way. I did not remember it being so gross.
Yeah, I was also kind of shocked at how Simon was when he came out. Like I didn't exactly expect that.
Yeah.
And then even they like warn that it's gonna be like intense. I can't remember the exact wording. Then in my head I was like, nah, Simon's gonna be chilled, and he was not chilled.
And I think like also in that scene it kind of showed how like the other Shadowhunters are all also still kind of kids, because they were shocked and they were like frozen when that happened. So yeah, even like something like that can shock them. So maybe they haven't been exposed to as many big things as we think.
Maybe. Which doesn't make a lot of sense because of the whole killing a lot of demons. Anyway, we're past that.
I feel like that thing was just like to just give him some kind of ledge to stand on in the world, to be like, yeah, I'm so cool.
Maybe
everybody loves me. So
but then we do see more of Raphael, like especially when Maureen comes in, and what's that other vampire? The actual no, the actual leader of the clan.
Oh yeah.
Like when she comes in and Maureen comes in, we'll see more of Raphael.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question for you is quite a long one, and you already know what scene it's about. Okay, so it's kind of in a few parts. It is, what did you think of the Seelie Queen? Did you think she should have made them kiss? And what did you think of them kissing, knowing that they thought they were siblings?
What's the first part again?
What did you think of the Seelie Queen?
I like her. I think she adds spice to it. I always love good drama. Like I'm always there for the drama. That's just like my thing. And everyone knows I'm really bored when there's no drama going on. So I liked her.
And also like her I don't know what you call the place she was in. Throne room or something. I don't know.
I always
Quarters, her court.
like the imagery of fairy is always really great for me. I always love that kind of thing. And I also kind of liked like when Clary saw through their what do I call it?
The
Like kind of their glamour.
Glamour. That's the word I'm looking for. The glamour. Yeah.
The glamour. So and when she saw that they weren't actually like as enticing as she thought, and there was all of these kind of macabre things about them, like the what was that the one who had the rib cage, like it was just bones with ribbon wound around it. I thought it was really
that was
interesting and like really great imagery, and really added like depth to where they were. And it wasn't just like, oh, they are happy and singing and like playing the flute, and it's actually like this is a real world and there's some stuff going on there. It made me curious as well.
so much. And I didn't expect that. Like, I completely forgot that they walked through the room where the people were dancing first before they got to the queen. Like, I completely forgot that that room was a thing, and that like scene where Clary took off the glamour and everything was a thing. Like, completely forgot about that. And yes, I agree with you. And I like that.
I liked how they got into fairy, like through the moon in the water. So cool. I love it. Like
Yeah.
it's just like
I
an
was
extra bit of whimsicality that I want from life that fairies provide.
I was expecting the other entrance. Like, because there's a different entrance that comes later. I was expecting that entrance, and then they actually walked into the pond. I was like, what?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello. You want to go to bed? We'll go soon, okay? Don't worry. And the second part of your question,
Did you think she should have made them kiss, and what did you think of them kissing, knowing that they knew or that they thought they were siblings?
I don't really have like an opinion on whether she should or should not have. I think like being who she is, she would have caused any drama that she could have, because that's just who she is. And they made her mad by bringing in Simon, so like they shouldn't have done that. So they were kind of asking for it. They were totally just disregarding her rules. So I think she was like,
That's true. I didn't even think of that.
so I was like, as soon as they did that, I was like, you guys, you're just asking for bad things to happen to you. She's a freaking queen. Like, hello.
The Sealy Queen.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then that goes back to the comment we got previously, the part where she tricked Clary into consuming fairy food, and Clary is only able to leave by kissing whom she most desires. Like, that fairy food trick, like, I saw it coming. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, she just touched that.
Yeah.
Do you think
Also
the queen
confident.
wait, sorry. I think, was it a sprite, or what was it that like bit Clary's finger?
Yeah. Yeah. A little
Do you
sprite or
think the
something.
queen made that happen? Or do you think it
Maybe.
just, like, do you
But
think she told the thing to go bite her finger?
I don't know if she needs to, because like everyone in her court, they're fairies and they know how to cause mischief. So they're all watching and they can all be like, oh, I just saw that happen. Let's get her. Because
True.
why not? Like that's what like they want. That is why like eating or drinking in fairy makes you stay there. Like so they're all on the lookout for it. Because otherwise it wouldn't have been such a big part of the story, in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
So whether she told her or not, it was inevitable. And
Yeah.
I think that Jace kind of lets Clary have a bit too much sway over him when it comes to making decisions because of his feelings. Like he shouldn't have let her go down there or Simon go down there, because they're super new to this world. And if someone's going to mess up, it's going to be one of them. Let's be real.
Clary would have gone though. Like,
yeah, but
there's no way she would have stayed. But I agree, Simon shouldn't have gone. And I actually, for a moment, thought that he wasn't going to go. Like, I thought he was going to go home, and then he went. But Clary was going to go no matter what. No matter if Jace let her or not.
Yeah. So I think they were asking for it. And that was like kind of the most dramatic thing she could have done, given like who was around. Or she could have called out Isabel, who was having a thing with one of her fairy knights. She probably knows about it. Yeah. So I guess she went for the ones who were defying her the most, because Clary was the instigator for Simon coming. So she wanted to torture Clary. That's what she did. Because then Clary had to be the one to be put on the spot in it. It wasn't really the other people. She had to make that decision and like out herself. So that was the Silly Queen getting back at Clary, not necessarily the other people.
Yeah. Definitely. And like, just speaking of that, I thought it was so funny how Malion reacted to Isabel. Like, I completely like forgot that. And then he was like, "Get off me, like leave me alone." It was so funny.
And doesn't she say something like, oh, like he's dumped now or something like that? He's so done, something like that. She just says like, it's so over now.
But then actually it's him that's like, "Go, leave me alone."
Yeah, because like probably Malion is like way older than her, so he knows like when to be proper, and they don't. Like, just shows once again like how young they are. She's like hanging all over him, being like, "Oh, this is my fairy bae. Are you jealous?" And
meanwhile they're like in this situation.
Yeah, it's a serious situation, and she needed to be serious. Although like she did kind of like protect Simon a little bit, but then like they kind of let their guard down, and that's why freaking Clary ended up sucking her thumb and getting into trouble. I just think like if everybody was like, "Oh, you have to kiss your brother right now," just give them a peck. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, it's fine. It's your family. Maybe like in our like culture, like kissing people is just a thing. That's how you greet people. It's just a part of like how I've grown up. So I don't put that big of a deal on it. But you don't need to have like tongue in that situation. Like, that was unnecessary.
Okay.
So that was a decision on
I didn't really have to go for it. That was the next part of the question. Like, what did you think of the kiss?
What do you mean? Like,
because now we've read it from two perspectives. We've read it from Clary's perspective and from Jace's perspective in JCO Clary Christmas. Do you remember?
I do remember that was a thing, but I don't remember like in detail.
Oh.
And I've read so many books in between reading that, but like, that still stands. Like, they had that decision. They could have just been like, "Bye."
But it's like that whole thing of like the whole world around them, like,
yeah, like
away.
they do that to they do that to themselves, honestly.
How many times in how many times in this live show am I gonna say, "I agree"?
It's gonna be the catchphrase.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I mean, it's hard to say now. Like, if it was the first time I read the book, I would have thought it was worse than I do now. Yeah. But no, I agree with you. I didn't think about it that way. I just felt sorry for Simon, kind of.
I don't know.
But then I was also like, because when Clary and Simon kissed, I was like, like, there's nothing going on there. Like, stop.
Yeah. Even though like she was meant to be with Simon in the book, it was there for like a minute. Like, literally, there was like one scene where they were like, "Oh, this is a thing now," and then the rest was just Simon being butthurt, and then being a vampire, and then being a vampire and being butthurt. So, like, that was just like that scene.
But
at least we know.
At least we know now that he's not going to be that way anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just called things off.
He gets annoying, though. I do remember he gets a bit annoying in book 4, I want to say. He gets really irritating. But then eventually, I like him again.
I don't know. I'll have to see. I can't remember him exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Are we finished?
I think that's about it. Like, I really want to read the next one ASAP because that ended on a kind of a cliffhanger. So I'm getting to the next one.
I'm just not looking forward to Jocelyn being like, "Why did you do all this? You shouldn't be doing this. Why are you mixing with Shadowhunters? Get out of this world." I don't know. I'm not very much looking forward to that.
This is like why protagonists don't spend a lot of time around their parents, because then they don't get to have as
The
many adventures.
story.
Yeah, like nothing would happen if your parents were around all the time. Like, you'd be at home doing your schoolwork. Also, what happened to her school? Don't they go to school?
I
Like,
actually
hello?
was thinking about that. Like, would her school not be like, "Hello, where are you?" But isn't it summer? It's like the summer holidays when all this happens, and she was gonna go to an art
Okay. I
thing,
totally.
remember, for two
Yeah,
weeks? Like,
yeah.
have we read 2 weeks yet?
I don't know. I don't know
Like,
what
how
the
much
timeline is
time?
of this. There's
I
no
know.
like date anyway, so I'm very like, has this been a year? I don't know. It could have been.
I think it's like been a week. Like, no.
That's like also why like the first three books are like this. It's one story.
But then also, no, the book also starts with saying like how many weeks later Jocelyn has been in the hospital. I just forgot how many it was now.
This book?
Like, yeah, it like starts with saying like how long it's been since Jocelyn has been there. I believe it does anyway.
I don't know. I didn't pick up on that if it does.
I think
I
so.
I don't know. I skip the boring details in my brain. Sometimes my brain's just like, okay, Jace. Where's Jace?
Nice.
I'm kidding.
Or are you?
Maybe. I don't know. I just wanted to get to like the action and the drama in this one. Um, buddy, look at him. Is that the right way?
I don't know. I see a wall. Aw.
He's sniffing my ring light.
Aw. Okay, shall we wrap it up then?
Yeah. Oh wow, we've been on here for nearly an hour and a half.
Yes, we have. Okay, thank you so much for joining us and participating. We hope you enjoyed it in there. If I can speak. We hope you are enjoying the live shows, and I hope you enjoyed the live show. And if you watched it back after the fact that we were live, thank you for doing that. That's appreciated. And I hope that you're enjoying reading Shadowhunters as much as we are, because we are very much enjoying it.
Yes, we are loving it. I do appreciate seeing like the numbers go up after as well. And everyone be sure to join us next month. We're reading City of Glass. If you aren't following us yet. Oh, he was
What was that?
sounds like me. They start telling me to go to bed, honestly. They're my little alarm clocks. So this is his mom, it's bedtime sound. But if you're not following us yet, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and our handle is at the Parabatai BC. So if you want to join our discussions and not miss announcements, find us there. I try to be as thorough as I can with them. But yeah, see you there.
All the links will be in the bio. I'll put them there after the live show, so they'll be there if you want to join us.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for watching.
Finish your assignments, Graham, and yeah, don't leave them so
Thank
late.
you so much for being active in the chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stitch thinks I'm talking to him.